Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. I've got the iron outpost finished up. Well, not finished up, but we're off to a good start. We have 4 lines that are fully saturated, loading the train. If we take a look at the chest contents, we can see that the chests are filling faster than the train is taking them away. And what I'm seeing here in the main base is that, well, first of all, what I did here was I set this up so that the train station is providing all the iron for the iron plate smelting. Okay, so I have those 4 cars emptying out onto 4 red belts, and then they come up to be smelted and go to the bus. And then the mining that I'm doing here in the base is all going towards steel so that we can get enough ore to steel. And right now that's enough to keep the steel going with no problem. But the issue that I'm having so far is that the iron ore runs out before the next train arrives. So I think what we should do is get another train going. Because if we look at the outpost, we still have enough ore left in these chests to fill another train. So that means that, one train, or what it means is that the iron outpost that we have right now should be producing fast enough to support 2 trains. So I'd like to get another train set up. I'd also like to start color coding these. So let's do that. 255 and then 160 is approximately iron ore colored. All right, and I just shift right clicked on the train to copy the settings. But I'm going to need to grab some engines and some steel so that we can make another 1-4 train. And then, of course, once we get more than 1 train involved coming to the main base, 2, 3, 4. That's probably going to mean that we'll need to put in a stacker on the main base at some point. Just because we don't want, in case the train is still waiting here when the other one arrives, we don't want the trains blocking anything. Alright, so let's put that there. Okay, yeah, I did get it copied properly. I have a list of RGB values for the different items in the game that I found on Reddit. I can provide a link to that in case anyone wants to do train color coding themselves. Okay, so let's send this one off to Iron 1. And let this one get in there. Okay. And then our coal train, I think, is still doing fine. Let's see, the color on coal should be just completely black. So that's easy enough. That's just 0, 0, 0. All right. So that way when trains are moving around, we can more easily see what they contain, especially if there's nothing loaded in them. We'll have a good idea of where they're headed. Okay, so I'm not going to do the stacker right now because I don't think it's that critical. Let's take a look here, though, at our train station and make sure that this is going to work properly. What I'd like to see is the next train arrive before these boxes get emptied. That's kind of the goal here. And it looks like the train is now leaving. There is, well, I think not quite enough ore to fill the train, but we'll see how this goes. Okay. And that arrives just in time. So that's good. That way we keep a steady supply of iron. If we look at our science pack production, We can see on the production science packs, we are running a little slow, and it seems to be due to a lack of red circuits, or relative shortage of red circuits. So the other thing that we need to do is expand our red circuit production. Right now we have 3 sets of 12 machines, which gives us 36 assemblers total. And actually what we need are 5 sets at a minimum, and I'd like to double what we have right now. The main question is where we intend to put it. Since we do have these 2 belts of iron coming in, iron ore, and we've got our path, we could quite simply just extend this to the other side, although that might interfere with our main rail line, which would not be good. But one thing we could do to check that would be to hover over this, and then let's see, where do I need to go? And then we can just ghost that down. I think that's still in the right place. Yep. Alright, and then we'll be able to check to see whether we have enough room. Yeah, I think we will. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to start by clearing away these mining drills that are already mined out. Let's get some new research going. I did lab research speed. We could go to the next level, but I would like to get... Let's do automation 3. So that we can start to upgrade our assemblers and start getting modules put in. Oh, also I did make a power armor Mark 1 and a fusion reactor, so that finally gave us enough power to get an exoskeleton, and hopefully we won't have to wait around for bots to charge as much as we have been. Alright, so we can clear all that. That one's out, that one's out, that one's out, that one's out. All these are out. Yeah, so as you can see, this iron patch is not going to be around for much longer. All that's done, all that's done, and all that is done. Okay, I'll leave that power pole since that's running our radar, and we need another one there. Okay. Yeah, so there's only 60,000 ore left, so this will run itself out pretty soon. Okay, and these drills are actually going to be in the way here. Let me see how much there's left. Yeah, there's a pretty decent amount still left there. So what could we do? I suppose we could just wait for this to finish mining itself out. Like I said, there's not a whole lot there. 60,000, but I think well, let's just check. We might have enough space to get at least one more of these production units in here. Yeah, if I move those belts, I can get one more in here. Let's take a look over here again. Yeah, these are not all producing. Yeah, I'd really like to do that because that's going to slow us down otherwise. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these belts up onto the path. just so that we have more room. This is temporary, of course, just until this patch is done with. Since we're going to jump over the path anyway, this will allow us to build a little bit closer. Okay, and then we could paste this down here. That's about as far down as we can go. So let's just do that. Bridge these gaps. This needs to go the other direction. Where's that? There we go. Okay. So that'll give us some more green circuits. Yeah, let's do logistics 3. That way we can start to make blue belts pretty soon. And now that we have automation 3, we can also set up the level 3 assemblers. So let's do that. So level 3 assemblers require the level 2s, and they require speed modules. So my idea is to have speed modules on either side here. And feed it like this. Right. So the challenge is going to be to get green and red circuits over to this one. For this one, I can just pull from the outside. That's no problem. Let's get another power pole in there. From this side, that's a little more tricky because I didn't leave myself any room. But I think what I could do. No, that's a little too close. Yeah, we could do something like this. There. Okay. And then I just need a place to put the output. So again, I didn't plan for this in the most optimal way, but that's okay. Let's see. There. And then I think the other thing that would be good to do is to get a requester chest in here, but I don't have those yet. I think we'll do logistics system next. Because as we start upgrading the blues with the yellows, we're going to be putting a lot of blue assemblers into our logistics network. So I want to make sure that we're pulling them over here in order to use those up instead of just producing more. So we can do that by putting a request in the system. And actually, this would be a good opportunity to use the new buffer chests, I think. So as soon as I can make those, we'll set that up. and we could do the same with the yellow belts and red belts. Okay. So speaking of those, we're going to want to have, this is going to be for our blue logistics. So we can start setting this up now. And we're going to need to get lubricant brought in. And I think it would probably be best to have the lubricant here on the insides. Alright, while I'm here, I want to add some more storage chests. Let's get another power pole in here. Okay, and then, like I said, we can do lubricant. Like this. All right, and I'm just going to copy the settings here. All right. Oh. Nice, and we have lubricant running close by, so we can just pull it from here. That's very convenient. Okay, while we're waiting for that, we can see what else we need. All right, we need red circuits on the splitters, which are going to be here. No, we can pull it from here. That's even better. And the other items just need gears. Now in this case, the lubricant is going to prevent me from pulling gears from both sides unless I do it here. I guess we'll have to do that. And then, do the splitters need gears too? Yes, they do. All right. Yep, okay. Gonna need both power poles there. Okay, so that should get us ready for the blue belts. And then we can do logistics network to get the chest done. Let's check back down here. Yeah, see now we're down to 54,000. So this is running out pretty quick. It's not going to be much longer before this is all mined out. I'd like to help it along by balancing these belts. Since they're backing up on one side. Okay, good. And then we'll start logistics system. All right, so this one we can balance that way. And this one we can balance this way. No, actually that's not necessary. Here we go. Alright, so that way we'll fill both sides of the belt and keep these running. Alright, these two have mined out, so that's two more done. Alright, won't be long now. And then we can add more red circuits. Looks like our supply of green circuits is starting to dwindle. Let's take a look there. It's actually backed up. So we're producing enough Okay. Yeah, I think we're just going to need to... We're going to need to have another belt of green circuits coming down. Because right now I only have half of a red belt. So if we look at the production, we need 2 circuits every 6 seconds, so that's 1 every 3 seconds, or 0.33 per second green circuits. I currently have, let's see, 12. I currently have 48. So if we multiply that by 48, oops, 0.33 times 48, that's almost 16 per second, and that's too much for 1/2 of a red belt. 1/2 of a red belt can carry 13 1/3. Okay, so it makes sense that the green circuits are starving before we get to the end. So probably what we would need to do is, instead of combining the belt up here, we should bring down a full red belt of green circuits and a full red belt of plastic, split them into 2, and then have one combined belt running through this part, and then have the other combined belt come down here to feed this second area. Otherwise, this belt by itself won't have enough throughput. Now, blue belts would have enough throughput. That would give us 40 per second, or 20 per side. So that could be a possibility, but I think once I expand this to where I want to go, it still won't be enough. So 2 red belts has more capacity than 1 blue belt. So I think we'll do that. So why don't we start setting that up right now? I don't know if I don't know if I have enough room to do that here. Okay, that's good. What should we do next? All right, let's go back to mining productivity. I still have one more level there to do. Okay. Before we get started with the red circuits, I want to get these other logistics chests going. So now we can make requester chests. We can make active providers, and we can make buffer chests. Alright, so we'll let those build up a bit, and then we can start using those buffer chests and requester chests. Okay, so I think I'm going to need to get rid of this power pole. Okay, that's good. Turns out we don't need it. Alright, so if we bring in circuits and plastic, like that, or maybe it would be better to have them each on one side. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There, I think that's the maximum length of a red belt to give us some room. I'll put this here for now to give us more room. Okay, so if we bring, let's say, circuits here and plastics here. Actually, let's move those a little closer. Then we could start by doing something like that. this one could come over here. And we'll bring this all the way down. And then it could re-enter over here. Like that. No, that's not going to work. Or at least not this part right here. That needs to continue straight. Okay, so this one will have to do this, which is not as pretty, but it'll still get the job done. Okay, so let me come up here. I'm going to cut the supply, and we'll let these belts drain out. Okay. Okay, so that gives us the circuits. And then we need the plastic. Oops. Okay, so plastic will be right here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so that should take care of the throughput problem on green circuits and plastic. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. So this way again we have a full red belt of each going through now instead of just a half a red belt. Okay, now this little curve I think we're still going to need because I won't be able to do the split in the proper place. So this is a little ugly, but that's okay. We can leave it like that. Okay. So one more thing real quick. Let's grab some of these buffer chests so we can see how those work. So what I'm thinking here, and let's start with the yellow belts. We can see we've got some yellow belt in inventory. Yeah, and actually we can get rid of some more because we've been doing a lot of upgrading. Now I still want to use yellow belt. So I'm thinking what we could do is connect the output of the yellow belt machine to the logistics network. And then have this so that it only runs when there are less than 200. And then we will put a buffer chest. I should be able to remove the stacks, the limitation on the chest. And then we'll put the logistic request on the buffer chest to, well, we can make it 300, let's say. So this chest will request more items than what this one is going to put out. So that way, if there's any excess in the logistics network, it'll get deposited here to be used. And then by using the buffer chest, those items will still be available to me and to the construction bots. So let's empty this out. Well, not empty it out, but let's take this down to 200 and see what happens. Right, so this one's not producing, but then it pulls some out of storage to put in here to top it off. So that's what I want to do, especially for these items that we're going to be upgrading. You know, like all the yellow and red logistics parts, the level 2 assemblers. That's probably going to be about it, but I'm going to do that type of setup for all those items so that we don't just accumulate a bunch of old stuff while we continue to produce more of the same thing. So I'll work on that offline and get that completed. In the next episode, I think what I'd like to do is to start working on uranium. We have a couple of patches here. There's one there. There's a much bigger patch over here. So I think this is where I'd like to go. So what we can do is start extending the main rail line to the east. And then we'll get a 2-lane spur going to the north up to that uranium patch, because we're going to need more power eventually, especially when we start using modules. Our power requirements are going to go through the roof, and I'd like to be able to start using nuclear power once we get to that point. So we'll get to working on that in the next episode. Until then, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.